Hey, this is Scott from Boss Hogs. After a really cold January where we couldn't ship any snakes, I'm ready to ship some out to my customers, and I'm just going to show you my workflow for doing that. First, I like to start by going to the Ship Your Reptiles website, because if they do not insure packages, it's not safe to ship. So they got it right here: hub to hub, on time and live arrival. Insurance is available. If they think it's safe enough to allow insurance, then they're pretty sure that they're not going to have any problems. Otherwise, they wouldn't make any money if people were constantly cashing in insurance claims for stuff that didn't get on time. So that's what I like to go by. From there, I'm going to make a little spreadsheet because I have more than a few customers. I have label info, which is the name, FedEx hub address, their email and their phone number. I have to get this from every person, just to get it on the label. The person whose name is on the label has to be the person picking it up. From there, I figure out what snakes I'm sending them in this other column. Then I have to research the weather for Baltimore for tonight into early tomorrow morning, the weather for Memphis overnight and for tomorrow, the weather for Indy overnight and for tomorrow, and the weather of the destination temperature. Weather for the destination for the snake. So we've been waiting for it to get warmer. Another thing, you want consistent temps. It looks like it's going to be between like 30 and 50 degrees at a lot of these places. If you have a snake going to a place that's really warm but it's leaving from somewhere very cold, or the hub it's at is very cold, it gets a lot more complicated. If you have too huge of a differential, it's just not safe to ship. So I am going to go ahead and research all that, and then the last thing I have is, depending on the snakes I'm sending, whether or not they're getting heat packs and how they're packed and the size of the snakes is going to dictate the size of the box I use. And these are basically all things I need to figure out before I can order the label for the package. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, so I have researched the weather at all these various places, and we're in pretty good luck. Everything is very consistent. Right now I'm looking at where I live in Baltimore, over the period that I drop it off and that the package would be there, late in the night, it's going to be about 40 to 50 degrees. Then at the Memphis hub, it's going to be about 46 degrees to 40 degrees. And then at the Indianapolis hub, it's going to be about 40 degrees to 36 degrees. Those are all pretty consistent with each other. It's a little cool. It's almost a little too warm for heat packs though, but I'm gonna go ahead and send the heat packs because none of these places or destinations are anywhere that's like very hot, where like a heat pack would do the opposite. Would overheat the box. So almost all of these, they're yearling hognose snakes, baby hognose snakes, a couple bull snakes. These are almost all going into 12 by 9 by 6 boxes, which is basically the minimum size box you can use with a heat pack safely, because you need a lot of extra volume, so you don't cook your animal, and you also need a lot of space so you can physically distance the heat pack from the animal. If you put it in a 6 by 6 box, it sits right on top, and that's not what you want. Oh, another thing I include are phase packs. Phase packs cost about $5. They have a chemical in there that really wants to be something like 23 degrees Celsius or something. I don't know exactly which ones I'm using, but it's somewhere in the mid-70s. So if you put a heat pack in there, it's going to buffer it a lot more. It's going to absorb a lot of that heat instead of your animal absorbing that heat, because the density and mass of this stuff is what creates stability. In addition to that, I'm going to pack 1 or 2 gel packs in each box too, just for even more buffering. A lot of people will use gel packs with heat packs and no phase packs. I just like to use all 3 just to cover my bases. Back to the destination temps. We have somewhere going to Texas. It's 40 to 54 degrees, so it's a little warmer than the other areas it's going to. The next one's going to California. It's 44 to 54 degrees. Another one's going to Illinois, where it's 33 to 40. Another one is going to New York, where it's 36 to 45. And then another one in Texas that's 55 to 64. That's actually going to be the warmest. That's the biggest temp differential. I'm just going to have to make sure that I carefully, pack this guy and make sure there's maybe an extra gel pack or two in there to absorb any excess heat. Another note too is that I have to plan and pack these things as if they're going to either FedEx hub, whether it's Memphis or Indiana, because you do not know where it's going until you've already ordered the label and paid for it and opened the PDF with the label. That's something that makes this a little trickier, especially if one hub is experiencing like a snowstorm or something, the other one's fine, or one hub is like 30 degrees hotter than the other hub, and you don't know where it's going to. You kind of have to pack it for everything, either place that it might go to. Today we're in luck that there's not a big difference in temperature between them, so that makes life easier. So now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go to my shipping website where I input all this information, or at least the label info information, which is name, address of the hub, their email and phone number. So I am going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll start packing stuff up and pulling snakes. All right, well, I have put in that info for all the packages. I just want to mention something about dimensional weight. When they base how much the package is based off the size. There's a lot of standard sizes for reptile shipping boxes. Some of the smaller ones are like 6 by 6 by 6 or 12 by 9 by 6, and they're measured with something called dimensional weight. And here it is from the Reptile Basics Frequently Asked Questions section. Will tell you every conceivable thing you've ever wanted about shipping a reptile ever. So it's there. You might need an hour to read it. You might have to take your two little brain cells and rub them together real hard and, focus on something longer than 10 minutes without checking your phone or communicating to somebody. But the info is on here. This is what it says about dimensional weight. It says dimensional weight is based on the amount of space a package occupies. They use some convoluted math equation to figure it out, but what it comes to is that the maximum dimensional weight of a 6 by 6 box is 2 pounds. Max dimensional weight of a 12 by 9 by 6 is 5 pounds. That means that I think what it means is that if it's over that weight limit, if you put 6 pounds of stuff in there, you're going to get charged more. A lot of these boxes do not weigh that much. Like a 12 by 9 by 6, the max weight is 5 pounds. It may only be 2 or 3. You can save yourself some problems and just put the max weight in when you're going to order the label. Just say I have a 12 by 9 by 6, it weighs 5 pounds. That's just the way to do it and not have any problems. And unless you literally fill the entire thing with gel packs, which are heavy, you're almost never going to go over the weight limit. Okay, so I have my printed stack of labels here. A couple notes about labels. There are a few different ways to do them. You can buy like a 2 by 4 inch sticker label printer thing. They can be very expensive. The stickers and paper for them can be very expensive. I opt to use a laser printer. Just get yourself a Brother laser printer. It'll print like thousands of sheets on one toner thing. You never have to worry about the ink drying out or anything like that. I can say that before I got the laser printer at an inkjet where you use it every few months and you'd almost need to get a new cartridge just to print one label. And I find myself constantly like in this situation where I just needed to print one thing and it would not do it. I'd have to like email a friend to print it for me or something. So here we go in a little shipping area I have. Here's a little quote to live by: chasing trends is a loser's game. That's for all y'all morph chasers out there. So we got some stuff in here. We have our labels. You can cut these labels out and tape them to the box. FedEx provides these free. They're little pockets. You just fold it properly, put it in there, slap it on top of the box. I like this because it's free, and it works. We're gonna pull some other stuff out of here. Let's see, we have phase packs, which are the things that kind of equalize the temperature. If it's too hot, it'll absorb heat. If it's too cold, it'll absorb the cold. You have, what else we got? We have gel packs, which are just cooler packs. They're really cheap. So these guys cost $5 and they're reusable. I'm almost certain like 99% of people I've shipped them to just throw them straight into the trash. But hey, you can use that. If you're ever taking a reptile out in the cold or something and you want to like buffer the heat a little bit, you could keep that in there with them. And then we have the gel pack. This is going to stabilize temps too. It's kind of similar to what the phase pack does without all the futuristic science mumbo jumbo. It's simply just some mass and volume that's going to help absorb heat and cold and help keep a more stable, equalized temperature. What else is in the shipping kit? Okay, yeah, you get yourself, some nice tape gun. These work a lot better than the little handle ones. So we got that. Snake bags. If you got a larger snake and you're doing a bag, a lot of these guys are coming in deli cups. I got Ziploc bags for the phase packs because when they leak, they can have like a weird chemical smell that's kind of nasty. So I like to double bag it. And we got heat packs. We got these two. So given the temperatures and that everyone's temperatures are similar, we're all going to package these similar too. And then up here I have stickers and business cards and hatchling info cards and stuff that I fill out with the snake. Alright, so next we're going to get the boxes together. Alright, so now we're on to prepping these boxes for shipping them out. We've got one bigger 11 by 15 by 7. We've got a bunch of 12 by 9 by 6s. Let me tell you a bit about these boxes. These that have the green text on them as such and have this gray-black foam. They're all made by one company. They're the ones you buy at Reptile Basics, but they're also the same ones that can be purchased at almost every other reptile shipping company. They're all the same box, is what I'm trying to say. So figure out who sells them the cheapest and buy it from that place. I think Reptile Basics might be cheaper than a lot of them. Just double check. The other box option are the Reptiles 2U box. They're the one shipping company. I think they're in like Georgia or something, or one of the Carolinas. They manufacture their own boxes locally for their stuff, and they also sell the boxes online. And I found that another indicator that they're different is they have, just white foam instead of gray. But they're substantially cheaper. I got a 20-pack of these for a lot cheaper than I would have gotten the Reptile Basics ones. So that's why I went with that. Always trying to save a little bit on the supplies because it is very rarely that the customer is paying 100% of the cost of shipping. So many times it'll be like 60 or 70 bucks. And I'll be like, just call it $50. And, it's the $50. It might be $70 to ship it, but it's another $8 to $12 or $15 for the box, which is a few bucks, $5, or I think these are even more. The phase pack is $5. The gel packs are about $1 each. The heat packs are a couple bucks each. So that's all something that customer doesn't even realize, that you're fronting, footing the bill for. So, I want to keep as much money as I can from these sales because that's the only way, I can afford to do this, and I don't want to have to sell like 10 bajillion animals a year, just to get by. So that's the explanation on the boxes. The one difference of these Reptiles 2U boxes is they do not come with a wildlife harmless live animal label, which is the Lacey Act label telling the shipper what's in there. By, I think, federal law, you have to do that because Lacey Act is a federal law. The Reptiles 2U boxes do not have them on there. So you just have to find one online. I think I got these from Wharf Market. So you just got to print those out, fill them out. It'll just be like tracking number 1 hognose snake, Heterodon, and then tape that on the box. And what I have in here is these are all prepped with everything except for the actual animal. We got our label with our little label attacher pocket thing, phase pack, heat pack, gel pack or gel packs depending on what you got. Another thing you got to do, one second, I'll be right back. You get your cool wooden awl from your dead grandfather, and you do one hole in one side and then 1 or 2 holes in the other. Might seem counterintuitive since we're wanting to keep these hot, but these heat packs actually require, they consume oxygen to work. So they're actually going to need oxygen from outside the box to, do their thing. In addition to that, if it does get too hot, you really want, somewhere for that to go, along with what the phase packs and gel packs are doing by buffering those temps. So the next step is we're going to pull some animals, and we're going to soak them in deli cups so they can get a good drink. And then we're going to repackage them and start filling these boxes up. All right, so I'm going to pull a couple of these snakes and give them some soaks before they're off to their new homes. I've got this really awesome looking bull snake here. This is just some room temp water I have in here, about 1 inch or 2. See, these guys go willing. A lot of times they're not crazy about it. Come on, bud. There you go. Come on. Get this sweet patternless, so you can get him in there. Okay. Cool. So I have several other snakes I'm going to soak. They're just going to sit in there for like 20 or 30 minutes and, soak up some water, have a little drink, make sure they're hydrated before they go. When I pull them out, they're going to be thoroughly dried off and then put into their shipping container with bedding. All right, now something I do while these guys are soaking is that gives me an opportunity to fill out the hatchling info cards that I have and get together stickers and business cards and everything. This is just a simple little form I got. It'll tell you what, the ID number for the baby, the sex when it hatched, morph info, what the parents were. If it were hognose, in the notes section, I would put when its first meal was, or if it needed scented or anything like that, because that's going to be important information. These are bull snakes. They almost all eat the first time you ever offer them food, so I don't have to worry about feeding notes for them. Got just 2 business cards, a couple of these stickers, and that's kind of what gets included with the snake. All right, so we've got our snakes soaked, and I've repacked them with bedding in their little deli container or shipping container. You're going to use a lot more bedding than you would than if you were just showing them off in a deli cup at a reptile show. A lot of the times you only want a little bit so the snake doesn't, so you can actually see the snake. In this case, you actually want to pack it pretty full. I could even put more bedding in this, but these boxes are going to get turned and stuff. You kind of want to eliminate a lot of empty space so the snake doesn't have a ton of space to like thrash around, or if there is some impact, it's going to be cushioned a lot more when less stuff is like being thrown across, the tub. So we got this guy. We have our box, which I already put 1 air hole in one side and 2 in the other. This guy's going to go on the right side of the box. Oh, also, we got our heat packs. You want to open these up before you pack it. I'm actually going to let this go for like an hour or 2 before I actually seal it up. But for demonstration purposes, Just assume this is pulled out and confirmed to be working properly. So we got our heat pack. We got a gel pack. I like to do a gel pack on this side, right next to the hole. I don't want to block the hole. Then I'm going to do, there's a couple ways you can do this. I'm going to start filling up with paper. So you get your paper, packing paper or newspaper or whatever. I like to kind of just fold it this way. Creates like kind of a neat little accordion, zigzag, kind of fold it in thirds. So it's a nice little packing wad. So we're going to get this in here and scooch this over. And we're going to do some more of this. Really stuff it in there. Oh, I forgot one other thing too. Hold on. Let's go back here. I do not trust these deli lids, so we're going to put a bunch of tape around them too. Blue painter's tape is your friend. It's cheap. It's reusable for the most part. It's easy to work with. If you get bored or tired of just playing with a roll and a pair of scissors or tearing it by hand, you can get a cool little 3-inch core dispenser like this. 3-inch tape core, because that is the size of the center of the tape roll, which is not as common as 1 inch or whatever the smaller one is, like Scotch tape. So we got this guy taped up pretty good. We're gonna put him back in there. You really want to get it pinned in. We don't want anything to budge. And take the phase pack, do something, put the phase pack directly on top this time. I'm going to finish filling in this gap. So we don't want this to shift over, because the heat pack is going to be on this side of the lid. Kind of end up using a lot of paper to do this. It just is what it is. When you run out of that, you get your whatever free local newspaper you can find. Start wadding that up. I'm just gonna ball it up now to eat up a little more space. You really want to pack it in there. Let's see. All right. It's looking pretty good. We'll do a little bit more. I think that'll probably be pretty good. We have our stickers and baby card and all that. I'm just going to kind of put that in there. And now we're ready to do the heat pack. So just to reiterate, assume this has been opened and run for an hour to ensure that it is effective. We have our tub here. We want this as physically far from our snake as possible. So I like to do it over here. I'll sit
do 3/4 of an inch over, because that is where, you know, the box is. You don't want it doing that. You're going to get packing tape and do a little thing. Just get the edge of it. You don't want to cover your heat pad. And the packing tape isn't going to stick really well to probably either of these things. But doing it so it wraps around the top of the lid, like so, that's what creates the hold. If you just did a strip here, it would fall right off. There's a few other ways to do this too. There's a few other ways to do all of these steps. I think the key is just being consistent and trying to do it similar every time, because that way you're able to recognize if you're forgetting something or doing something wrong. Right, so what do we got? Heat pack's pretty affixed. There's also an adhesive strip on the back of that too. I just don't bother with it. Did I say this? You want the red part hanging out. This is the heated side. You want that facing your thing that you're heating. So look, we got a whole little perimeter of tape around this buddy. In addition to the perimeter of tape, the fact that this box is packed really well is going to make sure that even if it does fall off, there's no way it can migrate to where the snake is. So we got ourselves a pretty packed box right now. We got our phase pack, we got our gel pack, we got our newspaper filling it up. This is where, you'd want to normally tape your box and then take your label, pull the adhesive off, put it on. One new thing they changed with shipping regulations is that you can't just put one tape across the top. You gotta do one tape across, and you have to make an H. So tape has to be on this seam, has to be on that seam. I also like to do one across here too. It works pretty well. So then you pull the adhesive off this, slap it on, and then if you're really crazy, you could just take 2 little pieces of tape, just extra tape here, extra tape here. For this, because this box does not have the wildlife label on it, I have to add that. This one in particular is asking for the tracking number. It's always a good idea to put the tracking number on the box too, because if this thing disappears, they're gonna have no idea what this package is or where it's going. 17255. 1711. So it's 1. What is this? Pitchuophis catenifer, say, common bull snake. So we're going to tape this puppy on. This one's going over one of these air holes, so I'll actually just go back, find where that is, and re-puncture that just to make sure we're good. That's another thing. Definitely want to make sure you do not just cover your air holes in your final packaging steps. Just go all the way around. All right, so we got the wildlife label. Tape this up with the H, throw this puppy on, and boom, you now have a snake ready to drop off at FedEx. I like to go to the one near the BWI airport. I think you're, moving like 1 mile to get onto a plane is as short as it gets. Always looking to remove steps from this process. If I dropped it off at the one closer to me, it would then sit there, then get picked up, then get driven a little farther to the airport. Not that big deal, but I think it matters. And I also like to drop them off in the evening. So I'm going to go at like 7 p.m. drop this off. At 8:30 or 9, they leave the FedEx ship center. Then they go to the airport and get on a plane. And then ideally they're in the next place by like 10:30 a.m. or noon. So that really keeps them
in a box and in transit for the minimal time possible. Even though it's overnight, it's much shorter than 24 hours. So that should be a good start on how to ship a snake. Other reptiles are very similar. If you have boas or pythons, you're going to be more concerned with the temps. You're probably going to want to use a heat pack at lower temperatures. I would refer to people who work with those species for advice on how to ship them. Then there are other things like leopard geckos, probably because I've shipped leopard geckos, but probably even crested geckos, stuff like that. Probably all get shipped pretty similarly. Instead of the loose bedding, it's popular to just use like paper towels, like make a little like clam, like one paper towel on the bottom, one in top to kind of further encapsulate the lizard. And like with the snakes, you want to use one where they have like minimal room to move and thrash around, and for them to get, you know, tousled around inside the deli cup. All right, so start shipping, you know, give it a go. That's all for now. Bye.